That looks like a disgusting bug. That's just an avocado peel.
Color you want when I met you. I said I'd run just waiting there to see your face.
Well, hello there, my beautiful friends. I hope you're having a beautiful damn day because you deserve it as per always. I'm so grateful that you are here and welcome to another What I Eat in a Week video. What else is new? What else is up? However, this one is a little bit more nonchalant. I was on my period, as you know by the title, and if you've watched any of my other videos, you know I care about what I put in my body. You know I love to cook and spend a lot of time in the kitchen. However, I'm a human being as well, and sometimes there are weeks or days that I'm just not feeling it, to be honest. Like, I just want fast. Oh my god. I just want fast and easy meals that I can whip up. Maybe I'm not feeling well, maybe I'm just tired, maybe I'm just being a human being experiencing the human experience and I don't feel like cooking, and that is totally okay and totally normal. And I want to break these diet culture rules and diet culture pressures that are put upon us to be perfect every single day, to track our calories every single day and make sure that we're getting enough nutrients every single day. And I'm not saying that any of those things are bad, but what I am saying is the fact that when we listen to our bodies and trust our bodies and also pay attention to our lives and how we feel, we can nourish our bodies, brains, souls, and everything all at once, because we're not constricting ourselves to these rules that are set upon us. It's important to nourish our bodies, do not get me wrong on that. However, when we are busy, exhausted, and maybe just uninspired in the kitchen, it is unrealistic to be perfect every single day, and that is okay. At that point in time, we need to zoom out and look at the bigger picture of our lives, of ourselves, and of our eating habits. And we need to not focus in on how this one specific meal was not perfect or how this one specific day was not perfect, and just look at our lives in context. Are we trying our best to nourish our bodies? Are we putting in the time to give ourselves self-love every single day? Because I know sometimes we work for 8-9 hours, we come home and we're not gonna cook and clean up in the kitchen for 3+ hours, have a shower and go to bed, and that's our life. Like, that is not a good life. We need time to maybe just sit and listen to music, do some yoga, go for a walk, color, draw, and feel creative in our own skin. And we need to give ourselves time to do those things. Again, let's zoom out of our lives and look at our lives in context. Are we giving ourselves what we need to be happy? Anyways, guys, without further ado, let's get on to the damn food. For breakfast this morning, I decided to use up the last little bit of these beautifully pink oyster mushrooms that I had at the end of last week's What I Eat in a Week video. I got them in Sarnia when I was visiting my dad from this guy that literally grows them somewhere in his house, probably. I still don't know this information, but he grows them himself, and that's freaking incredible. Me and Mitch also picked up these different flavored oils and balsamic vinegars. We're in love. Let's just say that we're literally in love with them and want to spare them because we don't go to Sarnia that often. So yeah. I walked away from these for like a minute to go pee, and I regretted peeing because I burnt my mushrooms. And you know what? I wish I just stayed there and held my legs together. That sounded so wrong. Okay, let's move on. On my bread, I got some mayo, some Dijon mustard, my mushrooms. I added some dill on top for some freshness, along with some leftover broccoli sprouts as well, and a squeeze of lemon because you know how much I love acidity. I also had some olives along with these beautiful open-faced sandwiches that I got here. And I also want to tell you guys, when me and Mitch got back from Sarnia, we literally ate an entire loaf of bread with the flavored olive oils and balsamic vinegars that we got with no regrets.
A few moments later.
Well, my friends think I'm
Because today is day 1 of my period, I needed lots of bananas because bananas have potassium and potassium helps with cramps. I also had a beautiful bath this morning with Epsom salts, which also helps with cramps, by the way. Anyways, let me tell you what I'm doing for lunch. I cooked up some brown rice noodles and then I added some creamy cashew butternut squash soup curry thingamajigger that I made a few days ago, along with some nutritional yeast to make it extra cheesy and delicious. I added some spinach for some greenness because, you know, you need some greens in your life every once in a while, right? Threw that into a bowl and topped it off with some balsamic vinegar glaze, and I am obsessed with balsamic vinegar glaze on toast, on pasta, on everything. When we were in Sarnia, Mitch also picked up some beautiful mushrooms from that guy, and these are king oyster mushrooms, which kind of mimic the texture of pulled pork, and that's typically what they're used for in vegan recipes, and that is what I am doing here. Threw them into my pan along with some oil, let them cook down a little bit, spiced them with smoked paprika, tamari, and once that reduced, I added some barbecue sauce and a little bit of sriracha because I love to spice things up. Mitch already had some potatoes cooked, so I threw my quote-unquote pulled pork mixture on top of one of them. Threw some fresh dill and some fresh cilantro along with some green onion on top because, like I said already, you gotta have some greens in your life. Plus, it just made it look so pretty. Don't you agree? Also, I just want to say that I did give half of the mixture to Mitch. That's why it really reduced in size there. It didn't actually just like whittle down to nothing. I gave Mitch half of the mushrooms because they were his mushrooms, and you know, I was kind enough to give them to him. I'm obsessed with chocolate. I'm obsessed with cocoa powder. I'm obsessed with anything cocoa bean-like because that's just who I am and how I like to express myself, period or not. So because of that, I made a nice little mocha to start my morning, and is there a better way to start your morning? I don't know. And nor do I want to know after that freaking delicious mocha, I gotta say. Moving on from that, we needed some potato in our lives, so I chopped up some russet potato along with some fresh garlic and some onion as well. Threw that into my frying pan until it got a little soft and a little translucent. Threw my potatoes in there, salted them, peppered them, chili flaked them because you already know I like to spice things up. I also threw some fresh dill in there because I had it in the house, and you know, you gotta use what you have. Splash of water, threw the lid on top, let them cook for a few more minutes until they were pretty soft but not fully cooked. Threw in my zucchini, threw in some cumin, because you know what, why not? And then I threw everything on top of a bed of spinach along with some hummus and a nice squeeze of lemon as well. And to be honest, this is just such a good breakfast to me. This is just such a good, hearty, filling, nourishing breakfast in my mind. Like I've expressed in the past, I am more of a savory person than a sweet person, 100%. And I'm also low-key obsessed with fermented foods, so that's why I threw sauerkraut on top, and I already expressed my love for balsamic glaze, and yeah, that's breakfast.
Wanna be side by side.
Let's make lunch. Okay, so for lunch today, all I did was marinate some tofu for about 10 minutes and then fry it up in the frying pan and cook up the rest of that cashew cream, butternut squash, thingamacurry that I had on top of those brown rice noodles the other day. I marinated my tofu in a super simple mixture with tamari, some maple syrup, some onion powder, some smoked paprika, and I'm pretty sure I added a little squeeze of lemon on there as well, but I didn't film it for whatever reason. Warmed up some leftover rice that I had, threw my curry butternut squash thingamajigger, like I already said, into my bowl, along with the marinated tofu that I fried up, and some sesame seeds. Super easy, super delicious. Use your leftovers and make leftovers, you know? Cook enough food so you have leftovers. Set yourself up. So today has been one of those days where I've been editing, hanging out in my pajamas, and eating yummy food, and I am not mad about it. It's been snowing today as well. You can't really tell, but it has been snowing today as well. Anyways, I could not eat all of this, so this is my leftovers that I will probably snack on in a little bit, but so yummy. I'm so full though. So today was the day that I was feeling like being in the kitchen. I love to cook, as you guys know, and it is like a therapy for me. It truly, truly is. However, like I said in the beginning, I am a human being and I don't have every single day perfect. So that's just life. Anyways, for dinner tonight, I saw this beautiful eggplant recipe that I was inspired by, and thus is dinner. So I threw some onion, carrot, ginger, and garlic into my pot and threw that into the oven on low for about 10 minutes or so. And by low, I mean like 275 Fahrenheit. I was busy completing a chore at this point in time, so that's why I had the oven that low. However, you can definitely cook this hotter and faster. But nonetheless, after the carrots and the onion were softened, I threw in my eggplant, because eggplant doesn't take that long to cook, and you definitely don't want to like overcook it to the point that is soggy and absolutely disgusting. I like a little bit of sog in my eggplant, but not so much so. I cooked my eggplant to about that perfect point and then threw my mixture of miso, maple syrup, and rice vinegar on top of it and threw it back in the oven for about 5 minutes or so. And do not worry, this entire recipe will be down in the description box for you guys, and trust me, it is so damn easy. All I had to do was stick stuff in the oven and make a sauce, pour the sauce on top of it, and that was it. And it looks like such an elegant, high-class sort of meal, even though it didn't take that long at all. Highly recommend. And it's super, super tasty as well.
Nobody providing the answers. Just losing my mind and my asses.
Good morning. Hey, what's up guys? How you doing? I don't know why, but I'm just like in that mood to be a little singy. I don't know why, I don't know what's up, but we're feeling it and I'm happy about it. Like I've already expressed, hot chocolate is the best thing in the world. So I made one of those to start my day, but I added a herbal mixture in it as well that I take leading up to my period and for the first couple days of my period typically as well. And that brand also sponsored one of my other videos, and it's called Elix, and I really recommend them. They are a wonderful company, not sponsored, just they're a great company, and I love to support a company that's for women, made by women. Anyways, as you saw, I had a little yogurt bowl for breakfast with some homemade granola that I made in last week's What I Eat in a Week video as well, along with a banana and some figs, or just one sad fig, to be honest. I ate the rest of them. And not gonna lie, I needed a little pick-me-up, so I made some coffee on this day. And I'm not particularly proud of the amount of coffee that I've allowed myself to drink in the last few months, to be honest, but hey, you know what? It is what it is. I warmed up some leftover eggplant dish that I didn't completely finish last night, and then it was time to actually make a meal. Or sort of. Is a sandwich a meal? Comment down below. What are your thoughts? Is a sandwich a meal? And I'm not talking about a little skimpy sandwich, like a real hearty sandwich. Is it a meal? So I just realized I didn't press record on anything that I just did. So let me explain to you how I just made this beautiful sandwich. Beautiful. Like, look at that. Look at that! That looks like a disgusting bug. That's just an avocado peel. All right, so on this beautiful sandwich, we got hummus on both sides of the bread, and then I put hummus on this side of the bread as well. I then tossed the tofu in barbecue sauce, threw on the parsley and the dill that I chopped up with some lemon juice, cucumber, homemade sauerkraut, fresh broccoli sprouts, peppered it, added a little touch of salt, oh, and some red onions too. And she looks freaking beautiful and delicious, and I cannot wait to eat her. Okay, so I just want to bring up the conversation about a sandwich being a meal again, and I think that anything that fills you up is a meal. That could be a whole bunch of appetizers that you order at a restaurant. If you eat enough and it fills you up, I think it's a meal. I want to know your thoughts though, okay? Like, give me some examples that you don't think is a meal, but if you eat enough of it, it fills you up. So on this particular morning, I ran out of milk. And that's why I had a black tea with no milk in it, and why I'm going to put yogurt in my granola bowl instead of milk. Yogurt shall suffice. It is what it is. Not gonna lie, I was disappointed. Anyways, for lunch, or you know what, I think this is kind of breakfast because that granola bowl really didn't fill me up and I wanted to eat this basically immediately after. So is that breakfast? Is it breakfast part 2? I don't know. But nonetheless, we chopped up some garlic and some ginger. We sauteed it in our pan until it slightly brown. Threw in this frozen veggie mixture that a neighbor gave me and I want to use up, along with some peas and... Whoa, that was close. Like literally a millimeter from the edge. Holy guacamole. To go on top of everything, your girl needed a flavorful sauce, and this is one of my favorite combinations to make, is to add tamari, sriracha, peanut butter, and some maple syrup as well. Mix that all on up, and there you go. That's the sauce. So easy, you can make enough of it to last you a long ass time, and I highly recommend doing that because you can simply just cook up some noodles, throw some frozen veggies in there, throw the sauce on top, and you got a meal. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever you desire it to be, you got a super simple, delicious meal. By the way, I do want to say that most of the time I do cook with rice noodles because my stomach doesn't love gluten, but to each their own. Cook whatever noodles you got in the house, cook whatever you desire, and just make the most of what you had, but make sure you add some flavors in there as well, you know, add a little zing, add a little zang, add a little pop, and enjoy, because food is meant to be enjoyed. After that delicious pasta dish, I was craving a little smoothie and needed to use up the last little bit of my protein powder. I didn't need to do it, but I did do it. Anyways, I added a couple bananas, some frozen blueberries, my protein powder, some cocoa powder, some maca powder, some water, and that was it. I made this right before going into the shower, and I actually drank it while in the shower, and then I drank the rest of the smoothie when I got out of the shower. That's why I'm in a towel. But after that smoothie, I definitely needed some more substance. However, I didn't really feel like cooking a full-blown meal, so I just chopped up some stuff, had some grapes laying around, opened up some sauces, like some hummus, and then threw some balsamic vinegar with some oil into a little dish as well. And Mitch gave me this rosemary bread stuff that I really enjoyed, to be honest. It was quite good, and I just kept on dipping it in balsamic vinegar and adding some hummus on top. Bread in balsamic vinegar, speaking my love language. But does anyone else just love dinners like that? I say it as if it would be bad. It's coffee and milk. As you guys know, I'm a little bit more of a warm coffee drinker than an iced coffee drinker and or cold coffee drinker. So that's why I was just surprised that cold coffee was good. Anyways, we are back to my favorite type of breakfast, which is a lot of potatoes, onion, spices, zucchini, all thrown together in a pan to saute, and that is exactly what I did. I threw some oil in my pan, I threw my onion and potato in my pan, cooked that until it was nice and soft, with some salt as well. Can't forget the salt when you're cooking potatoes. Definitely add your salt, okay? Salt is a necessity. That's the word I was looking for. I also threw in about a quarter block of tofu with some chili flakes, some sumac spice as well. I love sumac spice, even though I think it does low-key taste like ketchup chips, which I'm not mad about it. That is not a diss, by the way. If you have not tried sumac, highly recommend it, all right? Kind of hard to find, but it's worth it. Well, in my country, it's kind of hard to find. I also threw in some coriander, some paprika, some garlic powder, and some fresh dill as well. And on this day, I was making a reel for Instagram that involved dark chocolate, and I had lots of leftover dark chocolate, so I decided to throw it on to some parchment paper, throw on some dried cranberries with a touch of salt as well, because I already explained myself. I did that while everything was cooking up on the stove, and once it was done, I threw my fried up potato tofu mixture into a bowl along with some hummus, because hummus is sent from the heavens and just makes everything more creamy and decadent and damn delicious. I love it for salad dressings on pasta and on top of Buddha bowls as well.
Feeling helpless. Trust me when I say I've been.
You already know I had to dive into that chocolate because, you know, how could I not? But it was not tempered. I'm just saying that right now. It was tempered when I made my reel for Instagram, but because it sat for a little bit, it brought out a temper. and that's why there's just streaky white lines through it. You know what? It's fine. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter why the chocolate looked like that. Today we are making cauliflower steaks. So I chopped up my cauliflower like so, salted it, peppered it, and make sure it was smothered in olive oil as well so it cooked all nice and crispy and delicious. So for things like this, I love to cook with my hands. I just grab some oil off the tray, I'm rubbing my cauliflower in the oil, I'm rubbing the salt all over it, and then once that was done, I threw that into the oven at 350 for about 20 minutes, just checking on it to make sure the bottoms didn't burn, but I did do a little flip and cooked it for 10 more minutes, so 30 minutes in total. With our cauliflower steaks, I was also craving a soup for whatever reason. I think it's just because it's winter time and soup is just so cozy and warming and freaking delicious. Chopped up some carrots, some garlic, and some ginger, threw some sesame oil into my pot, along with some enoki mushrooms as well. Let that brown up, threw in some more just brown button mushrooms, and then I actually let it brown up. By the way, I just kept on snacking on that chocolate like the entire night. So after the mushrooms were all browned up, I threw in my carrots, I threw in some tamari, some chili flakes, some crushed coriander seed, and about 5 cups of water in total. And this soup made 2 pretty hearty big servings. So I had lots of leftovers and I was so happy about it. And because I don't use like bouillon cubes, those like soup flavorful little cube things that you buy from the store, I'm adding lots of spices and other flavors to this, such as a decent amount of miso, lots of tamari, and some tomato paste as well. I don't typically like to cook with tomatoes. However, tomato paste is just really concentrated in flavor, but it's not actually a lot of tomatoes, so little bits don't bother me, but if I ate an entire chili with tomatoes, my skin would flare up for 2 weeks. Anyways, I pulled out my cauliflower steaks and I threw that sauce that I made with the peanut butter and the tamari and the sriracha sauce on top because we're having a Asian inspired soup, so I thought, hey, might as well have a quote-unquote Asian inspired tofu steak as well. You also saw me throw a decent amount of rice noodles in my soup, and I basically ate them all with the soup that I'm serving to myself. That way they didn't get all soggy and gross the next day when I was gonna warm this up again. So pro tip, just cook the amount of rice noodles that you're actually going to eat in the moment and don't let them sit in your soup for too long because they're just gonna go soggy and mushy, and nobody likes a soggy, mushy noodle. Once my cauliflower steaks were all beautiful, like so, threw some more sauce on the side of my plate because I am a sauce lover, and even when I ate meat as a kid, the sauce pile basically had to be the same amount of meat that I ate, and that just goes to say I didn't even like meat when I was a little kid because I liked the sauce more than I liked the meat. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video and got some inspiration from it. I love to film these videos because, again, I want to show you the realistic side of food and how we need to take a step back from diet culture rules, take a step back from the rules that we set upon ourselves, and look at our lives in context and look at ourselves in context instead of just narrowing in on a specific day, how that wasn't perfect, or a specific meal, how that wasn't perfect. Are we happy on an overall sense? And maybe that happiness isn't being fueled by what we're doing in the kitchen. I'm not saying to not nourish your bodies, and I'm not saying to disregard it in total, but I'm just saying that sometimes it is unrealistic for us to spend as much time in the kitchen as we think that we have to make a nourishing meal. Let's just fuel our bodies to the best of our abilities and look at our lives from a bird's eye view. Give yourself grace, give yourself time, and nourish yourself, your body, your mind, your soul to the best of your abilities, okay? I'm sending everyone so much love and hope you all have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see you again soon for lots more videos coming your way. Mwah!